What's up, you guys? Welcome back. And if you are new, my name is Jess. I'm a recovering addict who served time in prison. I will leave more information about my story and my past in the description box of this video. But if you already know me and know my story, today's video is going to be dealer story time. Now, I did a video, I think last week, and it wasn't like the deets of selling. So some of you were like, meh, like this is a good video, but I kind of wanted to know this. So I hear you, I heard you, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Before we get into it, I just have to say that yes, I was wrong. I deserve to go to prison. I deserved every day of my prison sentence, and my debt has been paid to society. I am no longer that person. I am not glorifying prison. I'm not glorifying drug dealing. I have learned from my past mistakes, and I'm sharing them with you. This is a big part of my story, and it's a big piece of me, and learning how to be a functioning member of society and being a sober mother is a big deal. So it is my hope that in sharing these stories with you guys, maybe I'll help someone stay off the street, or maybe I'll inspire someone to get sober. I did not know that life was possible outside of addiction. I had no idea. I was in a fog for a very long time, and I'm now sitting here 7 years sober. So, without further ado, let's get into it. It's morning. I don't know what time you guys are watching this video, but it's 7:48. Oh my God, it's so early. My dog woke up my kids this morning by kisses. I'm like, did the dog wake you up? And they're like, yeah, kisses. Okay, anyway, that has nothing to do with anything. So I share stories with you guys as they come into my mind, or whatever is on my heart to share that day, I will share. So I've been thinking back to that old life a lot lately because of my YouTube channel and because of other people in my life, either bringing it up or struggling with other things. So I'm going to tell you a story about packaging, I'm going to tell you a story about a re-up, and then I'm going to tell you a story about my addiction and what that looked like for me. So the first story that I'm going to share is about packaging H. Now, if this is a trigger for you, please click off of this video. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. So my dealer at the time seemed to have an unlimited supply of H, and he would bring these mixing bowls to my house. Now that is when he decided it was safe to do this at my house, and there was a process involved. So he would bring these mixing bowls, big mixing bowls, full. They were white and they had a blue lid. And it's like you'd make cupcakes in, kind of. I don't know, a mixing bowl. So he'd bring these mixing bowls over. He would bring a brown box of wax bags. He would bring one straw from Burger King, because that was like the best straw to use, and maybe some food so it didn't look weird. I don't really remember. And then he would bring a bag of tapes, like Scotch tapes. So he would bring mixing bowl, brown box of wax bags, straw from Burger King, and the tape. So it was my job to package everything up for him. And he said at the time, this was before things got really bad, but at the time, he said I was the only person he trusted to do that. He would pay me $100 an hour to package it. And he wouldn't really watch me that close. I mean, he kind of just trusted that I was going to be fair, I was going to be on point, and I could measure things with my eye. I just eyeballed everything with my Burger King straw. I would take the straw and cut it like, I can't really show you. I'd cut it like long ways and make like a little scoop. So I'd be sitting there with this bowl. All the bags, I'd lay them out, 10 bags per bundle, and I would be making hundreds of bundles. So in order to get set up, and this is what really bothers me when I'm like wrapping Christmas presents, or like I'm not triggered, but I have flashbacks of this. When I'm wrapping presents for Christmas, I take tape, like Scotch tape, and put little tabs of tape all around the table so that when I know there's like a holder for it now, but like I'm just old school, that's how I do it. I would take the little pieces of Scotch tape, line them all around the table, and when I'm wrapping gifts, that's what I do. While when I was packaging H, I would lay everything out and get it would take me probably 45 minutes to fill the table with these little tabs of tape, right? Like just going all around the table, all around the table. And that would take me like 45 minutes. So I have those flashbacks of Christmas when I'm doing the same thing of packaging H. So I would line all of the tape around the table. That would take forever. And then I would have the little bags and my little scoop that I made, and it would be 2 scoops per wax bag and fold it up. I would be doing it for so long that my hands would start to hurt and cramp. So it would take me probably 6 to 8 hours to take an entire mixing bowl and make it bundles, and then make the bundles into stacks. And that was a long process. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch Drugs Inc. or something. I'm not gonna go into like the details of what every single thing is worth and whatever, but that took a really long time. And like I said, he would pay me a little over $100 an hour sometimes. Sometimes if it took me 6 hours, he gave me $1,000. But the deal was $100 an hour. I absolutely hated doing it at that moment. I hated it. I was like, dude, just get someone else. Just get someone else. This sucks. This takes up a ton of my time. And I didn't even care about the cash, which is ironic because I know I talk about money, but like, I wanted to not be poor. That's the reason why I started to sell at a very young age. I just didn't want to be poor. My town had no opportunity, and I'm not making excuses for this, but I just didn't want to be poor. That was the one thing I thought was the worst thing ever at that young age. My mindset is not right, obviously, but I'm like, I don't want to be poor. Fast forward, fast forward to me making a ton of money and paying other people's bills and going on little trips and doing all these things. Fast forward to that moment, and money made me feel empty. I hated it. I used to love sitting there and counting my money, and I loved the money. I would tuck money away and I'd do all this and that. I was kind of flashy with it. And then at the end of my addiction and the end of dealing, money made me feel empty. I hated it. I hated it. I think even to this day, if I have extra money, I feel guilty about it because I'm not donating it or giving it away. It's so ironic that the one reason why I wanted to be a dealer so badly was to break poverty and to not be broke in a town that's really poor. And then at the end, it just made me feel so empty and I hated it. Couldn't stand it. Anyway, I digress. So I packaged all this stuff up. When he determined it was safe, he'd pay me to do so. I should have been proud. Street mentality, you guys. I'm trying to explain. Should have been proud that he trusted me and whatever, but I just hated it. It was a big inconvenience for me. So the next story I'm going to tell you is probably 3 years after that. 3 years after packaging up on a daily basis, when he determined it was okay to do so. There's a procedure in the hood to determine whether or not it's safe to do these things. So I went for a re-up. Now my re-ups would be a lot. I would re-up a lot when I first started with this particular dealer. He'd give me a few stacks at a time. The street value of that would be over $10,000. Now fast forward to, I want to say about 3 years later, I got in his car. I owed him a little bit of money. I was dating someone he didn't want me to date. He told me specifically, do not go around Randy. He's dangerous to the operation. He's dangerous to you. This is not a good guy. If I see you with him, you're done. I wasn't very good at following rules, and I told him, oh, yeah, sure, okay, whatever. Like, I didn't care. I didn't care what he had to say. I didn't care that he was threatening me. I didn't care that he would threaten Randy. I told him, sure, yeah, okay, with absolutely no intention of listening to him. So I get in his car. He doesn't say anything to me, and it's just kind of an awkward thing. You know, I called him for a re-up, and he's just kind of being whatever. There's no music playing. He told me, I saw you with Randy the other day, and I said, yeah, small town, right? What do you want me to do? It's a small town. Like, girl, he's living at your house, whatever. So he said, do you have what you owe me? And I said, no, I have this amount. And there's a reason why I'm not saying like specific things, but he's like, do you have what you owe me plus your re-up? And I said, no, I have my re-up. And he was so annoyed and so frustrated because he knows that my addiction had taken hold of me. When we first started working together, I was able to hide it. I was not using intravenously, and I was a little bit more functioning. And that means I was showing up clean and fresh and on time and on point and with a smile on my face. Fast forward a few years, I am down and out. I probably don't even have clean clothes on. I have scars and tracks all up and down my arms. I'm in a really bad place. I'm miserable. I'm depressed. I don't want to live anymore. I'm just sucked dry, basically. I feel like I can't help anyone. I feel like I can't pay my own bills. I can't help other people with their shit that I had in my life. I was taking care of multiple people, and the stress was so overwhelming that I honestly didn't want to live. I had seriously considered ending my life or just doing a shot so big I didn't wake up. That thought crossed my mind all the time in my last year selling H. I hated myself. I didn't want to get out of bed in the morning, and I couldn't physically get out of bed in the morning without like half a bundle. And that was how I started my day every day. So I get in this car and he's giving me a lecture about, do you have all the money? And I didn't. That going to see him was the worst part of my day. I knew I had to because I would be sick, other people would be sick. I knew I had to. He would either find me or I would just go voluntarily, and it was just easier to go voluntarily instead of hide or whatever, because I had done that before. I had left this area before and wanted to start a new life, a new sober life, and I didn't make it more than 6 months, but that's a story for another time. And I hated going to see him anyway, and I didn't have the money. He kind of threw a stack at me. It was only, like, the street value of it was maybe $5,000, which sounds like a lot, but when you go from like every other week big re-ups to this, it just signified that I wasn't going to be able to pay my bills, because I have to take out what I need to not be sick. I have to take out what Randy needs to not be sick. That cuts that package in half. Then somehow I have to make up the street value of what I owe him, which is $5K on this one re-up, and it was so frustrating and stressful. So he lets me out of the car, and there's a gas station. There's a gas station really close. Randy's expecting me to go home. I decided to go in the gas station, separate everything so he didn't know how much I had on me and so that I could hide my piece. We have to pay for this, and I have to pay my rent, and I have to pay some other shit, and I had to separate it and hide it from Randy, which was a whole nother task in itself, and it was just another layer of stress. It was the most stressful, the hardest time of my life. So what I thought was going to be like a big deal, and I thought I was going to be the, I thought I was going to be George Young. I thought I was going to be Freeway Rick Ross. I thought I was going to be these people that I looked up to. And here I am in a gas station bathroom separating bags so that I can make a little bit of money and maybe afford my re-up. And I knew I was in there for a long time, but I decided I was going to get high too. So I'm in there and I go to get high, and my paranoia starts to kick in because it's like, girl, you've been in this bathroom for so long. Leave this gas station. Leave this gas station. But I couldn't hit it. And I know if you are an addict, I'm sorry if this is triggering you, but I know that there are moments where you can't hit. And I'm sitting there and I'm frustrated and I'm trying and I'm trying and I'm trying and I'm trying. And I get a flashback to watching an intervention episode where I judged the person on TV and I said, drink some freaking water, do a push-up. I remember years prior watching intervention, like, using the J word, judging them. And here we are. Life has come full circle for me, and I'm in a gas station bathroom, which is dirty, and I can't hit my arm, and it's frustrating. And it's funny that I had that flashback in that moment, because it's like, this is what happens. This is what happens when you're judgmental, shitty, little arrogant shit. I don't know. But that's what I was. I was a shitty, arrogant little shit. And it sucks, but I was just a crappy person. I was a crappy person, and life came full circle and showed me all of the judgment I had given out. And karma's real, you guys. Karma is real. Things had come full circle, and I had become the person that I judged. And I'm saying that to say this: addiction will affect you in some way, whether it's you or a family member. And every 9 minutes, someone dies of an overdose. We're not helping people with judgment and shame. We need to be compassionate, we need to be helpful, and we need to, when addicts come to us asking for help, we need to help them. That is the point of this story. So the last thing I'm going to say is a story about my dad. So I lived a couple buildings down from where my dad worked. I lived there for a year, and there would be times where I would try so hard to bring myself to go get him pizza and have pizza with him at his job, which is something that would have been very normal, except I was high. And there were so many times where I just wanted to see him. I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to go up there and hang out with him, but I knew I looked like shit. I knew I had scars and tracks, and I knew that I looked skinny and sick, and I didn't want him to see me like that, and that was so hard. So I didn't talk to my dad or my stepmom for a long time. And I'm gonna introduce you to them when I go see them next month, but it was so hard for me not to be able to go visit them, not to visit my siblings. I would visit my mom, but my dad and my stepmom and that side of my family I would stay away from because I just truly did not want them to see me at my lowest of my low. And there would be times where my dad would drive by when I was outside of the bar or walking around. I mean, he'd see me, but I tried to not make that happen. I tried my best to just stay away. I probably didn't talk to my dad for 2 years because, and we were in the same tiny town, you guys, but I was so ashamed and I didn't want to tell him how bad I got. I also felt like he couldn't relate to me or wouldn't understand what I was going through because he truly just didn't know. I mean, he didn't know me, he didn't know my struggle, and I was just desperate for someone to understand me. And that's probably why I clicked with Randy so well, because we were both addicts and he understood me and I was very codependent on him. So I'm going to end today's video here, but I just have to say this. If you are struggling in addiction and you can't see life on the other side, I am living proof that life outside of addiction is possible. I will leave information to NA meetings in your town in the description box of this video. I will leave my social media links in the description box of this video. If you have no one else, please reach out to me and we'll figure it out. I will find a way to help you. If you are the loved one of an addict and you don't know how to help them, go to Al-Anon meetings because that is going to help you understand and also help you know that you have no control over this. And I think Al-Anon has really helped because I can't control people in my life, and Al-Anon has helped me in the past and I know it can help you. So I'm gonna end it here. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay sober, stay out of the streets. It does not pay. It will lead to prison or death. Bye, you guys.